Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. Roll time, man. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you know that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong. Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
That is lower than the forecast.
Good morning, guys. I'm super late here. Okay, so we just got our news. U.S. initial jobless claims 256K versus an expected 250K. That's what we got. Treasuries took a pretty big jump up there.
GDP deflator at 8.
I'm not going to be placing any trades here. We need to roll over our micros here. The PCE core PCE prices advance was 4.4.
We are still waiting on the US PCE prices advance, but looking to the markets now, we are just seeing the downside movement in the Dixie.
We didn't get the headline PCE prices advance. That's odd. And the GDP, okay.
The US initial jobless claims report for the week is now available on the feed for those interested.
Hold up. Okay, so the GDP quarter over quarter was negative 0.9. Wait, why do I not see that over here? I'm missing something. Oh, there it is. US GDP quarter over quarter advanced negative 0.9. So all of the numbers were bad. I think everybody kind of expected them to be bad to some extent. Interestingly enough, on the front month in the micro treasuries. Oh, by the way, we need to check something. Here. I don't remember the name of the app. There we go. We need to pull up icon. You can't see it though. You're not allowed to look, okay? I mean, we didn't reverse the whole FOMC move yet in the Europe session, unlike the last two times. Well, I wouldn't read too much about that bit. I mean, the GDP and the jobless claims numbers matter more. So the thing I'm seeing here with jobless claims, 256,000 is not like insane or anything like that. It's just a modest, well, we call it a miss. I mean, it's higher than expected. It's bad, right? It is higher than last time, though. That's the thing that I think is kind of starting to concern people, is that we have a pretty long trend now, several months going here, of, you know, it just gets a little bit higher and a little bit higher and a little bit higher. Oh, right. I don't need that part. Okay, yes. Okay, so I have it here where you can't see it. 3 10-year note.
Price advanced out now as well. 7.1%. 7.1%.
2.76. So this is correct. And they're almost exactly on. 2.762. Okay. So the reason this matters, I'll show you here real quick. Let's just do it here. Okay, just remember we're at 2.76, right? Now we're going to come back over here and 10Y. And now we want, oh, come on. Now we want August. And it's probably going to be 2.77, something like that. Yeah. Come on. Oh, maybe the new month is not. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's 2 base.
We have
It's
just posted
2
out the
point.
US GDP report
Really?
for the second quarter of 2022 advanced estimates. So the report there is on the feed for those interested.
Okay, so they were at 2.76, right? This is at 2.8. So this is 4 basis points higher. So there was this whole thing about, okay, is there a basis difference in the micro treasury yield futures?
So looking
There
at this
is.
report here is the decrease in private.
We need to turn the news squawk off. You're not allowed to listen to that. So this is all very interesting to me. I'm not quite sure what to do with that. What do you mean no sound? You can hear me. Yes, you can hear me. I turned off the other sound, but you should be able to hear me. So let's switch things over here, and then we can kind of try and sort out what Kevin is talking about here. Right? Can you still not hear me? That last one, I was just faking it. Yeah, Kevin says he can hear you. I think that Anthony came in a spot where I wasn't saying anything. You know what I mean? Okay. Okay, so it looks like for me, no live trades. They are still trading the so I don't think that you switch over today actually. So but kind of what's happening is if I come back over here to the July contract 10Y July. Well, okay, there is more liquidity over here, but it's a little weird, right? Like the liquidity is just being a little weird. Oh, okay. Before it wasn't for you. All right. Well. So, given that, so I'm going to switch these back. I seem to recall that even like on the last day, so tomorrow will be like the last day, right? That you can trade this month, and we'll see what they're doing. No? Did it not switch? Oh, I didn't get the right one. 5Y in. There we go. There we go. Well, we probably could take some trades up in here. Look at the 10-year is pushing kind of aggressively there, isn't it? All right, so let's go through. Is the depth of CQG for bonds good enough to? Oh yeah, yeah. Like Belgian, in reality, having 10 levels of depth is more than enough, right? It's nice to be able to see ones that are a little bit further out to see if there are large orders at key locations, but it's not strictly necessary. I really prefer rhythmic over CQG, primarily because of my ability to pipe the data out to multiple applications. Okay. So let's come look at the charts here a little bit. So we had a bit of a spike yesterday, but a lot of that move got retraced, at least in the further back months. And you can see here the key thing I want you to notice here, okay? This is a big deal for me. Steepening, right? There was some steepening here, okay? So that's a big change. The 10 and the 30 are starting to go up a little bit compared to the 2 and the 5. Okay. Now, when we come and we look at ES, okay, ES had a pretty good pop yesterday. Yep, that was after the thing. We are still where we were at. So what do you mean by we didn't reverse the whole FOMC move yet in the Europe session, unlike the last two? I mean, the news got reversed in the meeting. Oh, you're saying that like there would be a move and then by the next day it would be like the opposite of that? Yeah, you're right. It's just up where it is. The way that I would look at it though, as large meta order, long, market has a long memory. That is now the new price. If they want to go back the other way, they're going to have to sell back through it. And, the liquidity is probably healed. In fact, there's going to be probably going to be more liquidity. You just look over here at the treasuries, we're putting thousands up now. We're putting thousands up. So, it'll be harder for them to push back down the other way, right? It'll take volume. It could happen. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. It's just, price is the price now, okay? Market has a long memory. Remember that. Okay, oil is on the up. Natural gas actually coming back a little bit. Silver and gold having a little bit of a pop yesterday. That's actually quite constructive for the chart, especially there in silver. Wow, that might attract a few people. Although I did see that that in India, which is a really large buyer of gold, they expect them to not buy as much. So and then we got to look at the dollar. So the dollar took quite a bit of a hit yesterday. I mean, it was up at 107. They took a hit back into the 106 range. That's still quite high and well within where they probably should be. So I don't know if that's too big of a deal. Bitcoin, though, here. Bitcoin took a bit of a jump when that change happened in the dollar. They did not give those gains up. Okay. And I think that Bitcoin is trying to run off of, monetary policy is going to be softer from here, which is like, well, I don't know about that one. But the market seems to think it, so who am I to argue with them? Right? Okay, so where does that put us now? We still have some important numbers tomorrow, right? So tomorrow we get core PCE price index, personal income, personal spending, and Chicago PMI, and the consumer sentiment numbers, which were kind of really significant previously and could be really significant today. Okay, the treasuries are well above 120.16. So, man, I guess we could have tried shorting at 2.76, but is this turning into a bad news is good news rally? It kind of looks like it. So I kind of have a problem jumping on this kind of a trend, just because it's turning so aggressive here that I think I'm gonna have a really hard time knowing how far it can go. In fact, I have to come back to like this daily chart here. Okay, so here's this daily chart. Look at the daily chart here, right? We are into an area of significant past resistance. So that doesn't mean that I want to take a short here by any means, but it means that in terms of like how many orders are going to come in here and like what price are they going to get to, there can be some situations where it's kind of like there's a certain price that it seems like they're going to get to, and the orders just always seem to keep coming until they get to that spot. Where would that spot be now? I'm not quite sure I know where that would be. Maybe 121 would be like the next kind of step, perhaps. But you know, you're getting back into March levels now, which is a big change. A big change. Let's see if they retest the 3040 area in E-mini. By the way, your exit on the E-mini, you got so effing lucky on that trade. like there was some. So here's the thing. Okay, so it's not like it was all luck, obviously. Oh, for those of you that weren't here, Kevin took a long in the E-mini after the news and caught a really huge runner that was worth like 50, 60 points, something like that, right? So, I don't want anybody to go in and be like, okay, so the way to trade is to take YOLO trades after Federal Reserve meetings in the S&P 500. Okay, it was 46 points. Okay. There was a lot of luck involved in that. Okay. But I want to talk about the things he did on that trade that were really good, right? For one thing, he knew when to take the risk on, which is really the most impressive thing. You can see here I just kind of sat around and was like, I'm not quite sure I see any reason for it to move, and I'm not going to take a trade. And yeah, okay, you miss it. And I think for me, that's okay. But he had the guts to take it, and that was really good. But the other thing that he did that I thought was really, really good was that he had done a lot of research about the past FOMC meetings, and he understood what the volatility tended to be, right? So again, we should always go back to our framework that it's the orders that move the markets. So if we want to know how far the market's going to move, et cetera, we should really be looking for like, what are the orders in comparable situations? And so he kind of knew how much the S&P 500 was moving on other FOMC days. And so he was able to predict fairly well what kind of a price target was realistic. And when he got out, that was like the best spot to get out, because it did come back just before the close. Right? Well, the reason when I say the whim is that the kind of the thing here was that like the market did seem to grab onto something that Jerome Powell said. Basically, when they're saying like he doesn't think that there's going to be a recession, but that we're going to get inflation under control and like everything's fine, is that sort of thing. Oh, we had the big delta spike on the end. Yeah. So like, I don't know. It didn't sound to me like there was a really clear like news or order flow trigger sort of a thing that had him looking long or anything like that. It was going with the momentum, right? Which can work, but it's a little bit more sketchy of a trade. But because you knew what the volatility was going to be, you were able to let it run, right? The problem that I have here right now is that I really don't have anything here to tell me how much volatility you're likely to see off of this move. This is a relatively big move. I come back over here to the chart. This is a big move in the Treasury. I guess there's comparably large moves, but we could try and look to the move index. We could come over here and we can look at, you know, what our ATR numbers and stuff. It does kind of look like, given recent elevated volatility in the Treasury market, that they could go a little bit further. What am I using on this one? I should change this one. So I am using for my ATR percent, and for this one I would probably rather use ticks, right? 56 ticks so far. Jeez. No, what we need is we need some kind of measure about how far it's going to go based on volatility and volume, right? So like there's kind of two approaches here, right? One is just what was the previous volatility, right? Because a volatility usually doesn't like change in a flash. Like it doesn't go from every day that month was extremely high above average volatility, and then the next month there's like almost no volatility, right? Tends not to do that. Volatility tends to cluster, and there tends to be transition periods, right? And why does it tend to cluster? Well, because orders begot orders, and the sorts of things that are moving the market kind of have a tendency to move the market over multiple days, right? So we can look at today's today's volatility compared to the recent past. There has been some days where we moved significantly further than this. Okay. So could there be further upside? Yes, there could. But should interest rates really be dropping below 2.7 now? Now you're kind of getting into, okay, right? So that's why it's hard for me to justify, for me to take a trade like just going along with it. If we had come off of the news and everything, I probably could have just done a straight click after the news, but I wasn't looking for that one because I was more concerned about what is the liquidity situation and the rollover situation in the micro treasury yield futures, right? So I'm wondering if you guys would like to do another little thing with me. And that is, I had been speaking with the Edge Clear guys a little bit recently, just because, I had moved over to them as their broker, right? And I was kind of interested in their platform because the thing is one of the big advantages or one of the things that will drive people to a particular broker is the platform, right? Because I don't think anybody else would use NinjaTrader brokerage otherwise. They're not terrible, but I don't think that I get as good of a service from NinjaTrader brokerage as I do EdgeClear, for instance, right? But the thing is I really like NinjaTrader. Is NinjaTrader amazeballs? No, I mean, I think that programming in C# is really great. That's the primary thing about NinjaTrader that I think really gives it kind of the advantage. Because all of these other platforms that are like competing with NinjaTrader, they write it in Java. Ugh. Why Java, guys? Don't use Java. I really, you know what? Kind of going through all this because I was going through it yesterday. Because remember we went through this whole thing like, okay, let's make a really good looking chart here for the newbies, right? Well, what was that? Trader is all JavaScript. Geez, yeah, JavaScript is even worse, man. Although in some respects, JavaScript is well suited for like a GUI thing, so it's like, I don't know. Anyways, I kind of got myself a little bit distracted there and kind of lost my train of thought. Okay, so remember how we went through all of this stuff with making this chart over here in NinjaTrader look really nice and big for like a new trader to kind of see what's going on here and everything, right? And kind of what I found was, yeah, there's lots of little things in the charts that like are kind of hard to do, or where it seems like you don't really get the flexibility that you maybe want. For instance, on this chart, I didn't want to show decimal points. I only wanted, the 4025 bit there. And did something happen? Why is it not showing me? No, I think we're okay. I think it's just that it's not moving as much now. Basically, because I changed the tick size on it, it can't show me the quarter points. Here, I'll show you why. Back here for a second. This is annoying. Like I think this is a deficiency in the NinjaTrader platform here. Because like I can come in and change the instrument size. So if I change the tick size to 0.25, okay, close. Okay, now you see them. Reload all historical data. It will change a little bit because now it can attach to, you see how it changed a little bit? Because now it can change to a quarter of a point instead of just points, right? You get what I mean? That's the only way to change it. If I want to get rid of these decimal points, that's the only way to do it. Kind of annoying, right? So like the thing is that when I'm going through the actual charting part of it actually seems easy. Like I have these indicators that write their own bars for like the spreads. For instance, I have the spread candles, writes its own bars. It's not that complicated. In C# at least, it's not that complicated, right? It seems to me that if you're writing your own platform, the difficult part is the platform itself, right? It's the platform itself. I could write charts. It's like the larger platform bit. How you decide to do all of these other platform parts, that seems to be the complicated thing with the platform. But I'm kind of starting to come to the conclusion that, I really like NinjaTrader because I can program in it. But then I look at what do I actually have programmed? Well, so there I have two things that don't come with the platform that I think are really, really valuable and useful. And that is the spreads chart and the dollar index. I've been doing a little bit of work on those to add a couple more features to make those really nice professional products, so that those two things alone are worth, the $100 admittance fee for my indicator package, right? There's a bunch of other stuff I need to test a little bit more on. Maybe I can do that today, or maybe I can do that on this weekend. Because I've got myself doing videos every other week, so this week I should probably focus more on writing indicators and writing book and writing scripts for next week, right? That's kind of where I go on that. Anyways, the whole point of this was, okay, do you guys want to look at Edge Pro X with me for a second? For me to do it, I have to close all of the other windows, okay? But I want to see what questions and thoughts you have on the platform. And I'll show you some of the things that I noticed on it. Is that okay? All right, so I'm gonna close things down here. Well, should I close everything? I think I will. I will close everything down. So there's your first problem, is that because Edge Pro X is, I don't need Refinitiv on right now either. I'm gonna turn that off. Shut down Refinitiv. Hold on, because I might need to. That's continue. Okay. Yeah, it does. It asks me. Okay, hold on a second. Oh, they've changed Gmail a little bit here. What's with that? Okay. You'll never leave Sierra Chart? No, yes, you will, Kevin, because I'm going to write my own platform someday, and it'll be better than Sierra Chart. It will have all of the flexibility of Sierra Chart, but it'll have all of the advantages of Jigsaw and NinjaTrader. Although I don't think that if I write a platform that I want to replace the Jigsaw DOM. I want to, well, that's the thing. Maybe Jigsaw should just hire me to do their charts. We can go through their charts here in a second too. Okay, so now I got it up here. Yeah, okay. So this is Edge Pro X. I've already changed it a little bit. I already have changed it to use my colors. Nah, I think that there's some problems with Sierra Chart. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Can you explain how to use the dollar index to apply for strategy? Sure. Well, so the thing that you want to be watching here, Hoang, I wish I still had my other charts up and then I could kind of give you an example of what it's doing right now. But what you want to look at is correlated assets, right? So if I'm trading the S&P 500, I probably also want to look at the Dow and the NASDAQ, right? And generally speaking, I should see all of those things go up. Okay. It's even more strong in the treasuries. If I'm trading the 10-year, I also want to have the 5-year and the 30-year up. And a large portion of the trades that professional traders put on in the treasuries have nothing to do with, I think that treasuries overall are going to go up or go down. I think that the spread between the 5 and the 10 is larger than it normally should be. And I think that over time it's going to come in, right? Another trade that people will do is a basis trade between the futures and the cash. They'll say, okay, the basis right now, so like in the micro treasury yield futures, the basis is 4 basis points. It's $40. So if there was a way for you to go long or short yield specifically in cash, then you could do this trade, but there's really not. But you could sell the future and buy the cash and pocket the $40, right? That's a basis trade. Okay, so you want to have correlated assets. Now, gold is kind of a unique correlated asset because everything in some way is correlated to the dollar. All right. So especially if you are trading things like gold and oil and things like that, right? The value of the dollar significantly affects the value of those commodities, right? And so what I'm kind of looking for when I use it in the treasuries, right? Generally speaking, if the dollar's moving up, the treasuries are going to move up as well. Dollar moves down, the treasuries are going to move down as well. And if I see a move in the treasuries that seems a little odd to me, like the volume on it doesn't make sense. It's like it's been fighting all day. You know, there's an area that seems like it had really significant resistance, like a lot of people were going short at that location, and so it wasn't able to hold those prices, right? And then all of a sudden, it blows through those prices on like almost no volume. Like nobody's fighting it anymore. What's with that? Very often is the case that the dollar is moving at that time because all of these robots are looking at the dollar to determine what their bid and their ask should be, right? So that's why the dollar index is so valuable. If you don't have the dollar index, then I would at the very least recommend having up the Japanese yen and the euro. There's futures for those currencies, right? But the dollar index kind of combines it all into one, all of the different currencies, and so if any one of those individual currencies move, you will see a change, right? So that's the way that you use the dollar index, right? And then similarly, that's also how you will use my spread indicator, right? So those are the two indicators I have that I think are the most valuable, and are, quite frankly, I don't get how people are trading without those things. Like really, especially you're trading the treasuries, you really want to be looking at those things. Okay. Anyways, so EdgeClear. Here's EdgeClear's platform. I like the chart setup more than the DOM. Are you talking about, which platform are you talking about, Cyrilex? So here's the first thing. Oh yeah, so I was pulling up my document here. Yeah, Edge Pro X. Oh, you do get it on Trade-O-Vate? Yeah, well, so here's the first thing that stands out to me about the platform. Okay, can I get it to open up correctly? There we go. Oh, maybe not. It does this weird thing where it wants to draw over your taskbar. And you can change that by coming into preferences and use native windows. Okay. Watch, this is really freaking annoying. Okay. So now I have to close it. Are you sure you want to shut down EdgeClearX? Okay. Oh yeah. Rhythmic was, yeah. Okay. Now I gotta restart it. Where did I put the icon? Oh, way over here. Let me switch back over to here real quick. Test, continue. Okay. It asks, oh, I can tell it to remember my password. I'll have it do that. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now it shows back up, and now because it's using native Windows window, I get this. Okay. But white bar at the top. I think that's a Windows thing, actually, isn't it? Hold on. Personalize. Can we change that? Choose a fit. Choose your background color. Themes. Color default blue. Background color. Dark, light. No, I don't like that at all. I don't know what the accent color is supposed to do. Show accent color on the following surfaces: title bars and window borders. Start taskbar in Action Center. I want to get rid of that white. That white super bothers me. Right? That white super bothers me. Maybe there's a way to change it. I don't know. But that's kind of the difference, right? But now I can see the bottom here. And you get pages, right? So I can just switch to a different page. Now I got, I'm gonna make sure that all of these are simulated so that I don't accidentally click something. Right. And anyways, so you can switch between the pages. That's kind of cool, right? That's kind of cool that you can do all of that. But then here's the thing. What if I want it on the other screen? Because these are all inside of here. I can't. Well, you know, if I drag those don't necessarily come out, right? But I can, if I do want to chart on the other screen, well, I already have some of them pulled out here, right? I can pull out windows like that, and then I can move that over to the other screen, right? It's just they don't use the, oh, okay, so that has to do with whether it's active or not. Ooh. Well, anyways, okay, so that's the first thing. Is what I would really like is if I have two screens, I have this window over here and this window over here, and I still have pages on both of them so that I can change the whole screen all at once. You know what I mean? Instead, if I want to have on this screen and have these over here, and I can't change those. If I change pages, I have those open, right? If I change pages, right, those are still there. Makes sense? That's the first thing that I think is kind of weird about it. Just like chart books in Sierra. Yeah, it is kind of like chart books in Sierra. There is a scale lock. What do you mean by that? So you can zoom in and stuff like that. And in fact, they're actually quite. What are you talking about? Are you talking about this other chart? Where I had the TPO and it's not. Yeah, there is a scale lock on this one. I think on this one, I have to come over to scaling. Actually, I'm not quite sure what you do to fix this one. I'm not. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's because it's all done through this DOM here. Yeah, the reason that one is happening is because it's a DOM with the TPOs on it, I think. I think I can come in here and I can say, oh, no, that's not how it works at all. Maybe I can do it from this chart and I can just say, okay, so here's the next thing is that like, okay, here it is. Edit, is it window? There we go. Menu bar. Chart settings. Bar type. I'm actually not sure where you get the TPOs. A little under the help menu. Oh wait, what are you saying? You need to unlock it a little to the right, left to the 30M. Okay, wait. We're over here on this one. Oh, you're talking about this right here? No, that didn't seem to do anything. Which is it? This little one with the two arrows on it that says auto scale? Now click on, oh, let me click it again. Now click on the Y scale and move up, down. No. Unclick it, move up, down. No. This one, move up, down. This one, move up, down. See, I think that if I go back to this one, it will do that, right? This one, it will do that. The TPO chart is a little bit different for some reason. I don't know how you make the TPO chart. I think that this one, the reason it's doing it this way is because this one is attached to a DOM. Right? If I come over to this one is attached to a DOM. Oh, okay. There is that is locked, but it's still getting rid of it doesn't let me do that. It's because it's attached to a DOM. That's why. Right. But it is kind of annoying, right? It's like how do you get a TPO without a DOM? I don't know how you do that. It must be an indicator because they have edge bro line here. Let's see here. Study. All studies. Edge pro line. Okay. General line, blah, 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 blah. Options. Oh, you know what? This one, okay, yeah. Hold on a second. I need to do also chart settings on here because I have like everything turned off. So like here was one of the things that really bothered me was that like I have to turn like everything off or on to see certain things. Apply. Okay, so I don't think I want the DOM panel or the trade panel or the order book panel. Or the times and sales pattern panel. Okay. I can remove the Edge Pro line is not showing up, I don't think. Maybe the Edge Pro line is just average. Oh yeah, maybe that's just something to show like your average position. I think I was reading that wrong. I think sorry, study all studies. No, actually let's see here. This one right here. How do I remove? There you go. Remove that one. Delete. Delete. I don't want the volume on there either. And then study all studies TPO. There we go. So it's an indicator that you add. General value area, volume profile. Well, let's just click create. Okay, there you go. Now you got TPOs that you can kind of. I think their TPO charts are really nice looking, by the way. Motive Wave is really cool, but it has some quirks, but it improved a lot lately. Yeah. Also, can I show you a weird quirk that I found? I maybe I'm just like extra triggered by it because I was doing something myself about this recently. But if I come into the chart settings and there's all these settings for the watermark, okay? So like here I have opacity. When you look at it right now, okay, that at is the words at ES is very clearly behind the chart, okay? But if I do anything to change it, like if I bring the opacity down just a teeny bit, okay, maybe that doesn't actually do it. If I bring the opacity all the way up, like now it's in front. Now it's drawing over the chart instead of behind it, right? That drives me crazy. That drives me crazy. It goes in front instead of it's not. It draws in front instead of behind. What's with that, right? But I do like it. So again, here in the display settings, you can like there's all of these extra little things. So like the bird's eye view is that little bit down there. There's like a bar size selector down here, so you can switch between different 30-minute, 1 minute, whatever. These ones I don't have any analysis or commentary or trend lines on there, so that doesn't really matter. Show studies and show studies graphs. You want to leave that on, otherwise none of your indicators will show. There's also chart buttons. I forget which one. Oh, that's these down here, I think. Ladder and need exchange symbol. That's this bit up here, right? Bar size. We don't care about that. Analysis name. That's fine. Okay. So here, this is as simple as the chart gets, as far as I can tell, right? Now, one thing that I don't like is you can't change the price. So it's the same problem in NinjaTrader, right? So if I want to get rid of the decimal points on the end to make it display a little bit more simple, I can't find any way to do it. There's nothing in the chart settings about the scaling or anything like that where you can change that stuff, right? So you can't. But another thing is that there's all those little ticks, right? There's the little tick marks on the price axis. You can't get rid of those. So like if I'm trying to get like maximum cleanness, you can't. There's always going to be a little bit of visual clutter, right? Like the less lines that I see, the better, in my opinion. Right? Now you can change fonts and stuff, but like here, so if I go into chart settings, there's not really you can't really there's themes and stuff like that. But there's nothing. Where do I change the size of things? So then I have to come up to configure. Where is it? Configure preferences. All right. Now there's a whole spot in preferences for fonts. Best day for fonts? No, not for me. I did not really like the way that the liquidity and the micros really looked, so that's why I was kind of coming over here to this. And we'll come back to it. Okay, so now you can come in and you can change the quote board font, right? And the chart font. So if I really want the price axis to be different, which one? Where with the vertical axis right here, then I can make it 36. Apply. Now they're big. Right. Now they're big. So like, but why? Why do it that way? Like the way that you do it in NinjaTrader is you change it on that one specific chart, and then that's a template, and then you can apply that template to everything else if you want, right? So I find that really annoying, right? On here on this chart here, oh, I already showed you the spread. So it does show spreads and they are candles, but there aren't many options on your spreads. So all studies, spread. Okay. Right. You can select the first one and the second one, and you can select how it displays. And that's about it. Right. Which is okay, but it's sufficient. Okay. One thing I do like is I can set like okay, so if we come let's get rid of the TPO thing. Delete. Okay. I like setting a session break bars and stuff like that. So there's time access. You can come in here to time access, and then there's all of these different lines that you can selectively enable or disable, right? But you have to be using the right session properties, essentially. So I have the start of the day marked and the end of the day. Yeah, I have that, but it's not. Oh, it is showing. It is showing. It's just very, very, very faint. Let me make it a little brighter. Make it just straight white. Yeah. Apply. There you go. Now it really shows. Now you can see it, right? And enable or disable them. Oh, is that not the one I want? Oh, it's only the RTH one that really is doing anything right now. You have to have your session template set up right, but being able to selectively turn those on and off, that's nice. Right? It would be nice to have like opacity on it or something like that, but you have to have the session templates, and the session templates aren't quite right. At least the default ones are not. Memory usage is a little bit better, although I don't have a whole lot open. No, don't close that. I'm wondering if I had everything that was open on NinjaTrader Jigsaw, would I be over 900 megs memory? Probably, I think. It's nice that they have a little memory usage thing down there and stuff, though. You can change the themes. The default themes I don't like. So, like, theme. So the normal one is dark here, is like pure black. That's way too much contrast. So I made one that was closer to what NinjaTrader has. Ninja. A little bit easier on the eyes. And then I made my own bar theme for blue and orange. So that's nice that you change it there and it changes it on everything. But like, I feel like they rely too much on the preferences here. I prefer more per chart settings, right? But I can't use the platform. I can't. I mean, it would be nice. Or it would be interesting. But like, if I come over here to the DOM, so here you can add columns. They have interesting columns, but they don't have like a current trades column. Basically, you get LTQ is about the best that you get on that, right? So I can't do that, and you can't use the RTrader Rhythmic Trader Pro plugin mode either, because it's not a C# application. So I can't use both of them. I would have to switch completely over to Edge Pro X. Doesn't get the job done, right? Right. And there's no backtester or anything like that. NinjaTrader has a backtester. So you get what I mean? It's like, I don't know. There's little differences here and there. So those are some things that maybe they could change, but I'm not sure that I can't use this platform. Right. So let's see how things are kind of... So at the top of the hour, we might get some opportunities, and then I might be interested in taking some trades, right? I really need to learn how to change like the active and non-active window and stuff like that. I'm going to come over here and try and fix it. See if I can change it. Oh, you can change it, but you have to do a registry hack. That's funny. That was funny. Well, anyways. Oh, the treasuries did go higher here at 7:15. My, oh my. I'm still kind of in this space, though, where I'm not sure that I can really justify a trade. Like, well, I could. Maybe I'm being too stubborn on which way I want it to go, right? I really don't like that the rates are going so low all of a sudden, right? Yeah, that move happened actually just very recently, just in the last 10 minutes. Came back awfully quick though, didn't it? Oh yeah. And the E-mini is loving it. I don't know, man. I don't feel, of course, what is going on in the larger sense doesn't necessarily matter, but I don't feel that what we've got going on here really makes much sense. Because the issue I really have here is, if we come to the chart, okay, like everything seems to be at critical levels, right? The treasuries seem to be breaking out to the upside, right? But then the S&P 500 seems to be breaking out to the upside. How can that be? Right? The S&P 500 can only go up so much before, it's like, yeah, but actually things really suck, right? Shouldn't it be going down lower to like 3,400, which is where all the analyst estimates were? If the E-mini was going down and the treasuries were going up, then that would make more sense. Well, I mean, the way that they're moving from the news, it is in line. Yeah, I don't want to trade this, dude. You know what, Octavius? I'm just thinking about what you're saying. There's some good volatility here for bonds, but I don't want to fight that right there. This is a move. I don't know if it's going to trend up all day, but picking a good spot is awfully hard here. Don't you think? It's just, there's just if I wanted to hold a 4-tick stop in the 10-year, was no way it would be happening, right? Well, I think I need to try and get a little bit more information, a little bit more context. Headline on Zero Hedges. Welcome to the Biden recession. Treasury yields are collapsing. Yeah, did he or didn't he? That's the question. Let's see what they say about that, okay? Markets responded incredibly well to yesterday's FOMC meeting. The Nasdaq was up over 4%. CDX IG tightened 4 basis points. High-yield bonds were up about 1%. The 2-year Treasury dropped 6 basis points despite a 75 basis point hike, and the 10-year moved a couple of basis points lower as well. Did Powell come across as dovish? Did he make the case that the Fed would take into account economic risk, that the Fed was data dependent, that the Fed was almost done hiking? I read the transcript several times and kept thinking that. He did a very good job suggesting we are near a neutral rate. That is positive for markets and dovish. He mentioned data dependency several times and did mention some concerns about the economy, slightly dovish. On the other hand, he tried to drive home the point that fighting inflation was still the priority, that he would sacrifice the economy and jobs for lower inflation since inflation is so problematic. He didn't even take 75 basis points off for September and did say they could hike above neutral to fight inflation. Hawkish. On what Powell said, I'd put the press conference on a 7.5 out of 10 in terms of hawkishness. Maybe some were expecting 100 basis points and were more hawkish, but I thought he delivered a message more or less in line with market expectations. I agree with him. Maybe the question is credibility of the economy, politicians, and the media. Since the market responded as though Powell was more dovish, I think we need to examine a few things more closely. Did Powell sound more credible and committed when he was talking dovish than hawkish? Well, on the face of it, his answers were skewed slightly hawkish, maybe, and this I can be convinced of. He sounded more believable when giving dovish answers. Is everyone pricing in weaker data? The Fed said data dependent and seems to be expecting data that would encourage more hikes. Maybe the market is thinking about the data and decided that the Fed won't need to hike much more. I'm definitely in this camp, though I think I'm expecting malignant rather than benign data. Have the politicians woke up to the fact that job losses and recessions are worse than inflation in terms of getting reelected? Have the media realized that inflation headlines are no longer act as clickbait, so they need to move to recession stories? While the Fed is apolitical, the pressure from politicians and media may be changing, which would also put some pressure on everyone to balance the battle of inflation versus recession. Considering these points, I could see yesterday's FOMC being much closer to neutral. That fits well with how the market responded. I would have liked to have seen more acknowledgement that we need to be careful on the economy. I remain worried that the job cuts, the problems showing up in consumer behavior, etc., have been triggered and are self-reinforcing in a negative way. That Russia remains a problem, especially for Europe, that the Fed did enough to squeeze out more shorts and allow more animal spirits loose at the 75 basis point hike on top of everything they've already done in the ongoing quantitative tightening are more than is priced in. Bottom line, today's GDP print has a limited potential to move markets. Given how the market interpreted Powell, I think any small number, including small negative numbers, would be slightly good for the markets as the data dependency argument gets tilted dovish. It would take a large positive number, seems incredibly unlikely, or a large negative number possible to knock risk assets down. That is what seems to be happening, but I don't think that's what the fundamentals are going to say, right? I think that the fundamentals are going to be that if the economy becomes weak enough that the Federal Reserve actually reduces rates, that the S&P 500 is going to have to go a lot lower. And that if they've gotten to a neutral rate and they're just going to leave rates here, which is maybe a better case here, I'm not so sure that you just rally on that. 2.667. I do not. I just really do not like the way that this tape is going. That last move up from 710 was pretty big. That was a pretty massive move. I guess I probably should have had that open. That's true. But I'm just kind of trying to distract myself, man, because the way that I looked at it, I'm a little concerned about the roll. That was the primary thing, is that I'm not so happy about the way the roll goes in the micro treasuries. It's not like I can just kind of straight move it. I don't like that the liquidity is, I'm still seeing 700s here. It looked like the liquidity was getting better, but it got worse. Yeah, back to 121. That was like a, what was it? 8. That was like a 17 tick extension and then retracement. Like, you've got to pay a lot of risk to trade this, man. And like the thing is that I think that the flows that are coming in here are all speculative. that seems to me that they're all speculative. I don't know. What was the estimate on the GDP? What was the estimate on the GDP? Oh, the forecast was spot 4? Really? Huh. Improvise it, have to overcome. Well, listen, you don't want to get sucked into the it's moving, there's opportunity, I have to trade, right? Because this is the kind of action where people will blow their accounts, right? It'll be like you'll catch a winner and then it comes all the way back and you lose it all. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, it's gonna continue up again. So you go long on a continuation again, and then you get nothing from it, or you lose money, or whatever the deal is, right? Hey, we got stuff at the top of the hour. I'm more focused on that. Oh, do I not have? Oh, because the consumer sentiment and stuff is tomorrow. That's right. Tomorrow is the more important stuff. We don't have anything more today. Hmm. You have to go downsize. Yeah, well, that's true. So, like, with the way that this is moving, like a swing trade makes a lot of sense. You probably would have wanted to have already taken the trade a long time ago, right? And maybe even have taken your profits now at this point. Okay. But at this point forward, okay, we can probably expect there to be a lot of volatility. But do I have something that is really going to be predictive of me? Oh, man. Of which way this is going to go? I'm not so sure. Like, you can see that this reversal here in the treasuries already is a little brutal. Somebody must have puked there, because that volume all came out a little too quickly, didn't it? Oh, okay. Joe Biden is speaking. Forgot about that. That may have been a reaction to what he's saying. Let me come through here through Twitter. Jim Iorio is still talking about the recession debate. You're too involved in the political debates, yeah. Wow, Brannigan Barrett, the yield curve steepening is the new proxy for risk. Get the 210 up in front of you. Given the new peak rates narrative, the 2 years seemingly has topped. This bodes well for risk markets, particularly if 2-year yields continue to fall. This will also dial back recession fears. This is a double win for markets in near term. SPX, the 4300 is the okay. So here's the thing. So that was the next thing. Remember yesterday when we were shutting the stream down, where I was talking about the steepening. I was like, maybe we should go for the steepener. Right? It looks like it would have worked. Would have made, I don't know how much it would have been worth. Could have been worth $100 now at this point, although I'm not entirely sure. Man, look at the S&P 500 is giving back all of those gains. So treasuries up and S&P 500 down, that's more sensible, right? The conditions are definitely not good for me to try and take any kind of a scalp in the treasuries, so the volatility is more than enough to overcome what I'm comfortable taking, and the any kind of larger, fundamental flows that I might take on would just, like I'm looking here and I'm like, okay, maybe I have an edge on where this is going to go. It might be this much, but the volatility is this much. It's larger than that. So the volatility makes it so that my edge is not very useful at the moment. So I'm really not comfortable. We could try doing market making with with sim contracts essentially, and probably we would do okay. I could turn around and just sell ES. That looks really attractive right now. Right. Biden, it's no surprise the U.S. economy is slowing down as the Fed acts to lower inflation. Yeah. Now the E-mini, do they break out the bottom here and people start to panic, or is it going to bounce there? Mm. So want to know another thing that I kind of don't like about this action? Look at the volume in the 10-year here. Okay. So when we started, there was about 7,000 contracts that went long. Next leg, there was a lot on the next leg, right? But look at how much it came back down. You're getting pretty wide swings. That's at least 5K. That one was like a huge jump. I probably would have just tried to buy that one right there. Yeah, I probably would have tried to buy that. That's interesting. Hmm. But 35K, that's a lot. Like it would be, I don't know if going short here makes sense, but short ZN. I don't know if going short ZN makes sense. You don't want to fight the trend, but going long ZN on expectation of a further extension is, I think, a little bit, you're asking for too much there, right? Dollar has kind of been all over the place here. Dollar hasn't actually moved that significantly. That's actually really curious that the dollar hasn't moved all that much. Gold has moved up a little bit, so gold is still looking good. S&P 500 is pulling back from its downs. Oh, I didn't see Sharp and Goose's comment there about doing tick drills. This would be good action to do drills like that in for sure. So let's read this story from Zero Hedge about just this morning. A combination of perceived dovishness from the Fed, seemingly re-engaging the bad news is great news narrative, and this morning's dismally worse than expected negative GDP print has prompted a collapse in Treasury yields. Rate hike expectations are sliding fast, sending the 2-year tumbling. 10-year yields are crashing even harder now at 2.75, its lowest since mid-April. As Nomura's rate strategist warned earlier, the near term is still going to be hawkish Fed. Just a reminder that what goes up must come down in our view, which is why the near-term reaction function of hawkishness against inflation will ultimately be the driver for slower economic output in the longer dated forwards. The bottom line is the economy is far too fragile to handle this type of tightening in the medium term as the Fed keeps the pedal down. However, ignore Nomura and ignore the bond market and brace for an avalanche of talking heads to explain how this is not a recession. Yeah, all of the economists who 1 year ago promised inflation was transitory agree this is not a recession. Yeah. But like I keep coming back to this thought that it's like if the bond market is right here, the S&P 500 should be going much lower. Right? If the economy gets so bad that the Federal Reserve has to lower interest rates, because that's kind of what they're suggesting now at this point. Yeah, I don't think that you can hold 4,000. I think that you got to go down to the 3,400, right? I don't think that everything is in line here. Why is the Nasdaq selling off? Well, I don't know if that move was just retracement of things. Something Joe Biden said? No, I don't know. When I'm just kind of I'm in a weird space right now, right? Because I came in and I said, "Oh, I don't think I want to trade this now." It's I wasn't I didn't really have things set up to take the trade off of the news, which is really where we could have made money. So I skipped that. I said, well, I don't know if it's going to go higher. Probably could have participated in that, and it didn't. And now that we're here, I feel like that there's not enough edge for me to justify a trade now, right? What's the edge? What's the future orders that I see at this point that haven't already come through today? You get what I mean? Because really, oh, I don't think that my data feed just had a little hiccup. How long does it take for it to notice? That's weird. Wake up, Rhythmic. Wake up. Are these ones still updating? No, they all died. There we go. Oh, geez. S&P 500 falling through there. I think Jigsaw got a little tripped up there. There we go. Oil is collapsing. Gold is turning down. I'm worried that there's going to be a lot of traders out here, especially in the treasuries, that thought that today was going to be a trend day up, that are going to see their positions come back on them significantly. That's what's happening to the e-mini traders, right? They lost all of their gains. Last FOMC day after went kind of the same. Yeah, well, the thing that I think can make the trading in this kind of situation difficult is that there is going to be a higher amount of active speculation. And in this, circumstance, that speculation flow can be quite strong, and I'm not sure. I I'm not convinced, rather, that the participants that are speculating on this really have that much insight into what's going on. You know, the thing is when the markets is has seems to have a really clear idea about the way things are going to go that completely contradicts what the Federal Reserve is saying. That always makes me a little suspicious, right? Missed your sell order. Well, they're turning to the higher end of this range now in the Treasury. I mean, he's reversing a little bit again. I want to pull up. Actually, I shouldn't do it that way. I should do it on the 10-year. Okay. I do have that multi-leg spread trade thing, don't I? Still, I'm modifying my other indicator so that it's just like all in one indicator, but I have one that's the other one now. I'm curious. There we go. Spread multi. 10Y R. No, leg 1 will be the 5, the 10, and the 30. Hmm. And Steffi, you're going to start trading again. What caused you to stop? When you have an initial balance this widens and the rest of the day tends to backfill. Yeah, it is kind of like, it does kind of feel to me like you're going to get chop inside of this range now. Study? Oh, you were doing school. I get you. Well, that's cool. It's good to have you back. I remember you. Or, well, I remember your name. I don't remember the way that you were trading, but it's been a quiet summer. Generally overall, though. So it's kind of been. Oh, you're a big toasty. No, I thought you never went away. Haven't I seen you where have I seen you recently? I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Haven't you been posting in Discord? I swear I've seen that in. Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. Spread. Okay, so what do I want to do is I want to sell the 5 and buy the 10, right? So I'm going to make this one be 10YR, earn ratio 1, and back leg be 5 YR, and back ratio be 1. Okay. So if my theory about all of this is correct, both of these lines should be going down, right? No. It's not quite that simple. Nope, a long time probably. Oh, okay. It is. I think I don't know how. What is the word? Let me approach it from a different direction. I think I'm having a hard time speaking today. I don't think that my brain is completely on the ball. I've been having a hard time getting myself to sleep at a decent time lately for some reason. Just because I think my body has gotten into a bad routine, you know? If I didn't have this stream, I think that it would be really, really hard to be so consistent and dedicated. If I was getting up every day and just I had to do all of this by myself, and my wife, she doesn't care about this stuff. I mean, she's not into it at all, right? She would rather me be lazy, sleep in late, watch movies with them later in the day, stuff like that, right? It would be really hard. It would be really hard to stay dedicated to it, right? Like having the community is like a really important part. You can get dependent on melatonin. I don't think that I need melatonin. I think that I just need to get myself in at the right time a few days in a row and get my body used to that time. The thing that's weird is that normally I would be like really sleepy during the day, and haven't really been getting that yet. I haven't been working out as much as normal this past week. That might be a part of it too. Yesterday I did a relatively easy workout, so today I think I can go a little bit harder, and hopefully that will make me sleep a little bit more. One of the problems that I get is that my nervous, I can like shoot my nervous system per se, right? Like I'll work out, and after I work out, I'm just like, can't move, can't think, hard to study, whatever, right? That was me yesterday. That might be playing into a little bit into why I'm not as gung-ho about taking a trade too. I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a problem. It's like I would like to be getting in bed around or trying to get ready for bed around 9:30 so that I'm asleep around 10. And I think that I'm falling asleep around 11:30. So like I'm falling asleep about 90 minutes later than I want. And I'm not sure how I got into that, but hopefully today we can fix it. I think another part of what's going on is that I, for whatever reason, kind of feel like I'm getting the what is, again, I'm really searching for words today, and I'm having a hard time. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time finding words. I'm gonna figure out the word. I'm gonna figure out the word. It's like when you're uncomfortable being in the place that you're in, right? It is the word for that. Anyways, I don't think it's gonna come to me. I feel the need to do things. I feel the need to do things. I feel like that I can do so much more for you guys, and I'm continually not doing as much as I would want to be able to do, and I'm not able to focus on the things that I want to focus on. You know, like the most important thing is the videos, but making a video every week is hard. I don't always have the time to be able to write like I want, and I really have to write these videos out to make good videos, I've found. But then I also really want to do more for you on the software front. Like I believe I've done okay trading, but I think that I'm a better systems engineer than I am a trader. You know, um, I think there's a lot of value that I could bring in building more systems. I think that we over rely on charts. So on one hand, there's like I'm not going to make some groundbreaking indicator that's gonna solve all of your problems and stuff like that. So then that kind of brings me to like, actually the thing that would be the most valuable that I could provide you is a book. Book is hard. So what do I do? Right? And what I need to do is I need to bootstrap things better, I need to take advantage of what we've got now and prove the value out of those now, and use those to put resources into other things, right? So I feel like our indicator package, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with it right now. There's a lot of things I think it's going to make it a lot better. That's kind of the funny thing is I really thought what we had before was good, but the new spread indicator, I've made some big changes to it that I'm really, really happy with. Okay. Good changes. I think that more people should be buying the NinjaTrader indicator package. I think that everybody that uses NinjaTrader should buy it. I think that everybody that uses NinjaTrader should buy it. And, well, we have a couple of customers, but it should be in the thousands. It's not in the thousands. Right? So I should be doing better on that. And then, we could be making a lot more, and that could justify us, or not justify, but we could use that to put more effort into writing a book, for instance, or trying to build a whole platform, bringing other people on board to help us with like marketing and stuff, marketing and the art parts. Instead of a book, maybe you could do a course. No, well, so the reason why I call it a book, Sharpen Goose, is because what I don't want to do, to me, a course is a person comes and teaches you, and you can answer questions. And they usually, especially in trading, there's going to be ongoing support, right? And the ongoing support part bit is something that I'm not so sure that I can do at the moment. You know what I mean? A book is, okay, here's all of the information, go for it. And I think that the book is a more appropriate way of doing it than video, because the content that I'm talking about is very information dense. Right? You know what I mean by information dense. I read this one book. These guys were like talking. I don't remember what the name of the book was, but there's people on Reddit were like really raving about this book. So I go and I read this book. Okay. The whole approach of this guy in this book had like tons of flaws, but his basic gist was that like a return to the average on a moving average is really like the lower end of things. Anyways, it kind of had a little bit to do with volatility and stuff, but man, it was a whole book. It was like 12 chapters. I think I read it in a day. Okay. So that I was able to read it in a day really tells you something, right? And most of the book was total junk. Most of the book was, here's my idea. And then this guy would run through this idea on a couple of example trades or situations or whatever. And it's something where it's like, okay, I can see the chart and I can see what you're talking about. But here's the problems with all of those things. And then he spends like 20 pages talking about that one freaking chart, right? So the amount of information that was actually contained in that book was very, very small, right? What my book is going to be is, okay, here's GDP. That was today. Today we had the GDP number, okay? There's a preliminary and a final GDP. And the difference between the preliminary and the final GDP can be quite large. So what we got out of GDP today is not like the final say. There is it's totally possible. Like it's well within the range of variability that when the final number comes in, that it's actually positive, right? Because we got like negative 0.9. It can vary. There was a time during the pandemic where we missed by like a full 1.5%, I think it was, right? This is the sort of information that's going to be contained in my book, right? It's going to be everything that you need to know to be able to get into the game of actually speculating, right? I'm not going to spend time talking about charts. I'm going to talk about some really technical stuff. I'll talk about some math, but I'm not going to be talking about here's a chart indicator and here's analyzing this. No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be how to understand the fundamentals. And that sounds what I've been looking for. It's good. And it's going to be the stuff that we talk about here on the channel, right? And I'll probably expand on it as we, as situations come up, right? Most books could be condensed onto one page, some college courses too. I think that, I would like to be able to make it a hard copy, but I don't have any connections with publishers or anything like that yet. Maybe that's the way that I need to go. Because you can get an advance from a publisher, right? Because I think that if I was doing it full time, I would maybe take me 3 to 6 months to get the first edition out. But I would definitely want there to be an ebook version of it too. But like, here's the other side of it though. Here's the problem with doing a hard copy is that I think that the price is going to be more in like the $300 range, right? So there's not many books out there that you pay $300 for, right? So maybe I would have to use an online system to distribute it. Yeah, I think that it should be in the $300 to $500 range. So like, well, I don't know. There's a couple of different ways that we can approach trying to price something out, right? So one way of pricing things out would be like, I shouldn't have closed that chart. I think I will look into that more after the stream. It did look like it was kind of doing what I thought, but my barbell trade wasn't quite right. Don't think. I think that it was buying the 5, selling the 10, and buying the 30, and I think that it should be the opposite actually, that it's that they should be selling the 5 and the 30 and buying the 10. So I'm gonna have to go work that out. I'll improve my finish the improvements to the indicator that I made yesterday, then I'll be able to show that there. There's an outfit on the web that you write your book on, and they hold your hand, including marketing, make it an NFT. Okay, so I think oh no, that's not right at all. Yeah, so I think that the goal for me to quit my day job would probably need to be in the $10,000 range. Okay. So that's a lot, right? So like if let's just say that we offered the course for $500, for instance, right? To live off of the book alone, you'd have to get 20 customers a month. Okay. That's doable, I think, because the information that I'm giving is pertinent to all trading, stocks, futures, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So could we do that? Yeah. In fact, probably if we made it 300, 10,000 divided by 300. See, I should be able to do this kind of math in my head. 33. Okay, so if our goal is 33 buyers a month, possible. Yes. So I do think that my number is right. I hadn't gone through and done the thing. I was just kind of judging it based on what other people had done and everything. And it's not necessary that I completely make a living from the book, but that's just kind of, the way I'm kind of leaning is like, then I want to be able to take that into making better platforms, I think. Fastpencil.com. I'll look at that. Make a course site with recording new lessons with a low-cost subscription fee, education for cheap. That's actually not a bad idea. A subscription add-on as well. Well, okay, so you're bringing up a different thing that we've been thinking about, but like again, so if there's anything I can do to bring more value to you guys, it's finish writing the book. Okay, what I've been doing with the book is I've been taking the scripts that I've been writing for my videos, and that's a large part of what the book entails, right? But it's just that the book will then go into more detail about things. Like on a lot of these videos, it's just too hard to go into like the math of it, for instance, right? Like when I talked about the inverse sine law and stuff, there's equations and stuff for it that I didn't really show you guys, right? That's the sort of stuff that would be in the book beyond the channel, right? So that's what would be in there. So, and yeah, I don't know if it needs to be a subscription fee. I got to tell you, the subscription fee thing is really interesting because when I originally put my indicator package out, I did it as a subscription fee, and there was a couple of you guys that did it, but you guys seem to very much prefer a one-time upfront fee. I think that it's going to vary from thing to thing, but for that particular thing, one-time upfront fee seemed to make sense. Okay. This idea where it's like it gives you access to a website, I think that makes sense. I don't think that a recurring subscription makes sense though for that. Okay. But the other thing that I can bring to you guys that would bring you value would be morning and evening preps, right? I think that I would need to do a little bit of work on that to get that to the point where it would be a good thing for you guys, right? Because a lot of that prep I just do on the fly in my head, like I can do that, And that's a different thing from writing it down and being really thorough about it for other people. Now, I probably should be doing that. Like, that's the thing, is that's what I should be doing. But I don't really have a whole lot of time in the morning to do that. You know what I mean? I would have to wake up early, even earlier than I already do, to do that. So that's why I haven't gotten into... Now, doing an end of day recap would be valuable, but not nearly as valuable, right? So I kind of have to take that a few little steps at a time. Like, I think they'll make a few YouTube posts to see how you guys react to the YouTube posts. And then if that works, then we could move into something where, you know, if you guys want my end of day recap stuff, then you join the channel. Right. And then that would be like a $20 a month subscription fee or something like that. Right. So then to get that, to live off of that alone, right? $10,000 divided by a $20 subscriber, you'd have to have 500 subscribers. It's possible that I could get up to 500, but that's pretty high. That's pretty high. I think that maybe I could get a fifth of that. A subscription is cheaper for some in a psychology standpoint. Because yeah, that's what I thought. But I think it really depends on the thing. I think that a lot of small traders, their primary driver is that they want to reduce their monthly costs as much as possible. And so the subscriptions don't really make sense. You know what I mean? If that was, let's see here. I'd done this math before, but I was like, how much does Jigsaw make a month? I wonder, from the monthly fees. I don't really know how many customers, paying customers they have, right? Because I really want to fund development. Yeah, so anyways, the thing is that if you can convince a publisher, then they can pay you up front for the book, right? And then that would allow me to just straight up quit, and I can look into that. But I'm guessing that I would need to bootstrap things up front. Right. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. But again, the whole thing here is like, I can do so much more for you guys, and I'm not, and a large part of it has been for the last 3 years taking care of babies and stuff like that. But I'm starting to feel that like anxiousness, like, let's get on, let's do something, let's change things a little bit, right? Like, have you noticed I've been doing that this week? Like, when we added that chart, that was kind of what that was all about, was like, okay, you know what? Like, we should make some changes to the stream to make it more attractive to people now. Like I've given you guys the really key parts, right? And I'm here for the play-by-play, right? So I think that the customer, should we call it the customer? At that point, you're not even necessarily a customer, right? The kind of trader that I've been trying to attract here to this stream and interact with, I think that we did a good job with that, right? It's time to expand the appeal. I've done a lot of thinking about how to expand the appeal of the videos, and I have ideas about what videos I'm going to do after I'm done with these treasury videos. And I've done a lot on TikTok to kind of learn how to build the audience that way. Or rather, TikTok, you learn a lot about how different kinds of ideas and approaches and stuff work, right? So TikTok is kind of like the breeding ground, right? Had techno in the background. I don't know. Yesterday, having the music on didn't really make a difference. I think that, well, by the way, I got, like, it was an ad. It was from an ad that had played on Spotify, but it did give me a copyright strike because of that, and I had to mute that part of the video. Can you believe that? So that's why I'm not doing it today. But music could help. Yeah, music could help in the future. I'm never going to do the clickbaiting people with how much money they can make thing. Okay? Like with numbers or like specific claims or stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to, well, I mean, maybe someday I will do that, but I'm more interested right now in trading really small size with micros. I really quite enjoy it, and I think it's really nice. I've been I haven't really taken, any trades in the last week or two. Last week there was some situations where I could have done well, but I just couldn't really trade because my account wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. Like I didn't have all of the technical stuff set up, right? Now I have all the technical stuff set up. I just didn't like the setups. I just wasn't really quite ready for big volatile moves like that, right? So that's why I'm kind of been sitting on my hands a lot. Next week, I think we should get some good opportunities that could move me, though. But I want to stick to that, right? So I'm not going to put like a number up that's like, oh, we made $20, right? That would be dumb. That would be dumb. And I think it would attract the wrong kind of person anyways, right? But the thing is that, well, like, so far today, we have 14 concurrent viewers, but it shows 81 views overall. If I come over to like YouTube, do this on the screen where you can't see it, okay? But in the analytics, you can now see things by content. So I can see for live. And I've gotten about 2.5 thousand views over the last month. So I don't think that those 2.5 thousand views are from the same, 12 people or whatever, right? The impressions click-through rate is not as high as it should be. You get 40,000 impressions and only about a 4% click-through rate. And if we really truly wanted the stream to be like massively successful, we would need a click-through rate much higher. So I think we could work on a better thumbnail. You have any ideas on a better thumbnail? We should brainstorm about that. Or some drum and bass. Listen, I'm all over it, man. This is when we did this yesterday and I did the poll and you guys are like, well, let's listen to house. And then I started listening to their house channel and I was like, this isn't that good. This isn't that good. But then they've got this one, right? I'm into this. That's great. Well, Live Action says, yes, top news eco releases. Okay, so what do you mean by that? That sounds to me more like a change to the stream title. Yeah? I probably should do that more. Today we should have put GDP. GDP. We haven't talked about that at all because I don't know. I don't really find it a very interesting argument. I think that 2 quarters of negative GDP is a recession. that I think that's the long and short of it. And yes, this recession is maybe a little bit different, but the politics of whether or not you call it a recession or not is just like the dumbest thing ever, man. Anyways, it's drum and bass, but it's kind of like positive and uplifting drum and bass. I really like it. We could do this. But, you know, it seemed like there's a certain number of you that aren't really into the music. Do you have a vid on how you set up your DOM? I'm looking to see more limit orders. I do and I don't. I do have a really old video about like my screen setup. I totally forgot about that. Where did I put that? That's what I should do this weekend. Because I could probably put that together and get a video out by Monday.
From the creators of Palm Springs and Mr. Robot.
You have 2 missing kids and a hurricane that
The title's up along the lines of America F. Yeah, it will lighten up. Yeah. I'm totally down with that. Oh.
Only on Peacock.
Yes. So what I'm doing is I'm playing Harris Heller's stream beats. He's a guy. Yeah, I in all honesty, the main reason that I started following him religiously, and then I would say I follow him religiously, I watch every video, is because he's here in Utah. I hope at someday I bet I'm gonna meet him. But I think he's a great guy, and when they started getting copyright strikes on Twitch, he put a bunch of money and paid these artists, which was really cool because I was like, oh, I can see the opportunity here, but I don't have the money to get a bunch of tracks together, and I certainly couldn't promote it. And he did it. He went and he did it and ran away with it and made millions from it. So that's what I use. I refuse to use anything else. So we got it. I'm gonna help my boy. So we can pick. You can pick a channel from streambeats.com, are our choices, and we can change it from day to day. But and we don't have to. Oh, see, like that right there is probably where it could give me a copyright strike or whatever. Right. So I might need to pay for a Spotify subscription. What is incomplete about this layout? You're getting distracted. The question was, how can we improve the thumbnail? Right? Where is the thumbnail? Pictures. Video thumbnails. No, well, we weren't really past that, but you guys were just talking about you were talking about the music, and so I let myself get distracted. I'm just too ADHD, man. That's what it really comes down to. I'm just too ADHD. Okay, here is the thumbnail, right? I picked the most boring and genetic picture of me that I had. We could try a thumbnail that doesn't have me in it at all. I don't know. What do you think would attract people to the thumbnail? Should we go and look at other streams for some ideas here? But live action. Now that you've said that, now you kind of have to explain to me what you were saying. What is incomplete about the current setup? About the current screen, let's say. Because here's kind of the problem that I have with the current screen from my perspective. I do not believe that what I am showing you right here, right now, is what would be the most interesting to the average person coming in. But it is what I have to have up. right? For me to trade, everything over here to the right. I have to have that stuff to trade. Everything that's up there, if I take any of those things down, I would have problems. Okay. All of them, including these ones down here. These ones down here. The micros, because that's where I'm executing, right? Surprise face, grand stuff. Yeah, I do. Well, I had it before, so that was that live thumbnail. Let me see if I can find it. What was it? So here was this one. But I have an older one. Where's the other one? I used to use this winning one right here. I used to use that one. And we kind of got tired of it. Maybe the click-through rate is actually, can we see that? How far back does it show you that? Can I go lifetime content, live impression, live impressions click-through rate? Huh. Yeah, it only shows me it back to April of this year, which was the newer thumbnail, so I don't get to actually see what the click-through rate was. I would like to get that click-through rate above 5%. So how do we get the click-through rate above 5% without putting a number on there? Oh, well, you're right, live action. No, that's not, you love the thumb when I started cutting my hair in a horseshoe shape like yours, the chick stuck. Thanks. Thanks, Josh. No, the past week or two, you're correct. But I did kind of explain that, right? I didn't trade last week or the week before because I was between accounts. I was switching brokers, right? I didn't trade yesterday because I thought that the Federal Reserve meeting was just way too. Yeah, I probably could have made money out of that. But I was just not feeling that volatility. I probably should have traded this one today. Yes, it was volatile, but I probably should have traded this one today. The thing that stopped me from trading this one today was, one, I did come in late, so I wasn't really prepared. And two, I was still trying to sort out if there was enough liquidity in August micro futures to do anything in. We're probably going to be stuck in the same situation tomorrow, right? So I got to make sure that I get here on time and everything so that I'm ready to go when it's go time, right? Because for this trade today, I really probably should have been trying to take something right off of the news. You get what I mean? So it had nothing to do with the, you miss a lot of opportunities and stuff. Like, sometimes stuff happens and it's already too late, and that's going to happen a lot. There's nothing my setup can do about that, right? So I'm not sure what it is that I would add to the screen that would help me with those problems. Those aren't problems of my setups. Those are problems of me being prepared, right? Me being prepared, how well I understand this current market. I honestly kind of feel like this market is a little confusing. Like, when the market was interest rates are rising, I understood that one really, really well. Now that we've gotten to, well, we're to the neutral rate and we're not sure if they're going to raise them much more. And are they actually going to reduce them? And the economy seems to be faltering. I don't seem to understand that market as well. And I know that I don't understand that market as well, so I haven't been taking as many trades on that as well, right? What would you add? Like, seriously, what would we add? I've got like here, the thing is I don't use these charts really. I only use the charts, like the only time that I look at the charts is when I'm talking about them. When I say, okay, we did this, look at this, right? When we go through like a review of everything, that's when I'm looking at the charts. I don't execute off of the charts at all. I know I'm generally saying, okay, I want to go long or I want to go short, and I'm just kind of stocking it here and waiting for something in the order flow to help me justify my trade and to show me a good spot. Right. So anyways, I don't know if there's a specific indicator. I don't know on this chart right here. This chart is for the noob, right? This chart needs to be, if you're a complete newbie, you don't know anything about stock markets, you come in, you look at that chart, you know exactly where we are. That's the S&P 500. This is where the S&P 500 has been and what it's doing right now, right? That's what that one's about. There's these other ones on this other screen that I don't really ever look at. But I would like to have a screen. Yeah, you can send me more detailed info if you want. You've sent me detailed info before though, and I just don't think it ever made sense to me, man. Maybe what I could do is I could adjust these charts a little bit to make these ones more like general audience friendly, to make it more audience friendly instead of showing the DOMs. We could do that, or I could just make a completely separate screen. I think I would need to buy another screen though to do that. Yeah. I don't know about that one. But then, you know, my bread and butter is DOM. Anybody that wants to do DOM trading, they come in, they know immediately, this is my place. He's got the 3 treasuries up, right? So I don't know if we want to change the scene too much more. We have this space up here that in this corner that we can work with. So whatever we're gonna put up there in the corner that might help viewers stay, let's do it. Okay. So let's come in and look at thumbnails, shall we? We got 15 minutes left. So if I come to YouTube. I wish more monitors came like this. I'll watch that later. Day trading. Filters. Live. See, the number one, this is Trader TV. Wow, that's a big channel. They just have a picture of a bull in a chart. Boobs always works. I mean, I would totally be all over if there was some girl that wanted to become a finance influencer, and I would just teach them everything and tell them what to say, and they would just be, you know, that sort of a thing. Like, look, there are. I'm not saying that that's like what any female influencer is or anything like that. In fact, the female influencers in the financial space that I've come across have been quite knowledgeable. They tend to be more on the economics side. But like, we all know that that's a strategy that works, right? And if I made money from doing it, I totally do it, because I don't think that I'm necessarily like the most affable, watchable person all the time, right? Do you using VS? Oh, okay, so are you talking about like volume spread analysis, right? Because this was where one of those things where like I've kind of read stuff about it and I was kind of like, well, that's just silly. Why is that any different from any other kind of technical analysis, right? I also think that more generally that you know, a lot, like Wyckoff had a lot of good ideas and a lot of good thoughts and everything, but he was turning it into patterns and stuff. And especially in the modern market, that's just never going to work for you because markets arbitrage those things out, right? People will trade on them. It's different when you have the internet, man. Right? When you have the internet, any kind of idea about how to trade, it's like everybody can get access to it. It's not like you had to come across the right person to tell you about a book and stuff, like it was in the old days.
Tap the banner or visit cliffbar.com to shop now.
In the 1920s, you might have been able to make money from price patterns, right? But I really don't think that works anymore. Oh yeah, we're over here. It's interesting. That top one is just a picture of a bull and the number going up.
Clip's MVP haircut experience is like nothing.
And then there's Matt, which is just a picture of him. And I guess his background is better than mine, right? I could go for a better background.
Followed by our signature scent on a perfect.
I'm a complete noob to the Dom. I'm trying to understand the market order columns. Are those already bought or sold orders, or are they just in the queue along with the limit orders? No. So think about the market this way, Josh. We call this the Santa Fe model, okay? There are 3 actions that you can do. You can place a limit order, you can place a market order, and you can cancel a limit order, right? And each one of those 3 actions can be a buy or a sell, okay? So you get 6 fundamental forces: buy, sell, or buy limit, sell limit. Buy market, sell market. Cancel buy limit, cancel sell limit, right? That's the 6, okay? So when you're coming in on the jigsaw DOM, that's the way that you should think of it. This column right here is sell limit. This column right here is buy limit. This column right here is buy market. This column right here is sell market, right? And then you can add the stack and pull columns on the side here, and that would show you like canceled orders. But I can just see when the limit orders decrease and you know, that sort of a thing, right? So that's the 6 main things. Now, the thing that will make the middle column confusing is that if it ticks down and it's been away from the price for more than 1.5 seconds or however long you set the reset to in Jigsaw, then when you tick back up, it will clear that number again. It will reset it. That way you can see how many market orders it took in order to push price up or down on every push, essentially, right? That's why I do that. Some people, they don't care about that. They just want to see the overall buys and sells in that area, and then they set it to a higher number, right? So generally speaking, those are market orders. And the way that it moves up or down is those market orders overwhelm the limit orders, right? So that time there was about 900 on offer. Some actually stacked and iceberged a little bit, and it took 1489 market buy orders to make it tick up. And that's the way that you should look at it. I think it can work, but not in the way people say to use it, because I've heard of quants even using TA. I think that the way that okay, so I don't know if I want to go into that argument right now, but really quickly, a lot of retail traders have a completely bizarre and completely not realistic vision of what quants do. These guys all think that quants are just running technical analysis with computers, and that's not what they're doing at all. The quant strategies don't really use technical analysis in any way, shape, or form. You know, like we get ideas that they are, because like they'll say, oh, well, I do a momentum strategy, right? But what they're doing is they're saying, okay, here's all of the different instruments that are out there. Buy the one that has the most positive momentum, sell the one that has the most negative momentum, and manage a portfolio that way, right? It's different from it just crossed the 5 SMA, I want to buy, that sort of a thing, right? Anyways, Where did we go? Oh, yeah, over here. No. Where did we go? Oh, it was over here. Right here. I think that I just need a better picture of myself. So maybe my top, what should my things, okay, so this is good. What are the things that I can and want to do this weekend? This is jigsaw setup video. Okay. And better pics, so we can spend the day taking pictures of me, and I can do it on a green screen, or in, I guess I got these blue things. Show gym gains. Oh yeah, except for that I don't really, my legs are okay, but listen, I'm a very small framed person. You would never, I don't think that you can really see in a camera that I really have quite thin wrists. Most people, if they saw me in person, they would probably be surprised at how thin I look. But I could get better pictures of myself. I don't know, what kind of emotions do you think would do better on those sorts of things? Well, this one is kind of like a boss pick. I think we should do that. We should do a boss pick. One where I'm the boss. Right? So like Matt, he's got the, yeah, you know, it's just a good picture of him smiling, looking away from the camera. Guess we should have one that looking away, that might help. You're skinny too. This one is aspirational. I should probably work my arms out a little bit more too. Like what we do is mostly legs, right? Charts. There's lots of charts. I really like which one was it? This one right here, because it's gray. That kind of stands out to me for some reason because it's gray. A lot of these is just all this junk. Can't stand these. Well, saying that it's a funded account challenge, that's actually like a really good way to get people going. Yeah. We could call what I'm doing, we could call it the Micro Futures Challenge, the Micro Treasury Futures Challenge. Something like that. So one of these things is I'm having a hard time seeing how I introduce this idea to you. Okay, anyways, contests, okay? Like there's this whole thing about trading contests, and one of the things problems that I have with trading contests is that everybody basically, you can trade any instrument that you want and you do all of these things, and so a lot of the time the person that wins just goes into the highest beta thing or catches a lucky YOLO, right? And you can make a bunch of multiple accounts to do that and that sort of a thing, right? Okay. If I were to put together a contest, here's how I would do it. You can only trade the micro 10-year. All of your trades have to be closed before the end of the day. You can only use one contract at a time. In terms of how effective are you at predicting that market? That's it. That's it. And then the performance wouldn't just be how much money you made. It would be a risk-adjusted measure.
your child's
I would love learning treasuries. Well, that's Josh. That's basically what we do here every day. So
Utahns are all unique, but no matter who.
see me holds a university train. Yeah, and it's a lot like that, right?
Because we all
Winners are almost always CL all-ins. Yeah, like seriously, because there's been some people that have come through and they're like, oh, we're way better traders than Seth or whatever. A lot of these. So one person in particular that I really think is just not a very honest person, and I'm like, well, maybe, but like come in and try doing what I'm doing, because it's really effing hard. It's really effing hard, right? You have to hold certain risk parameters, and only do it with one contract. Like the thing is that there's so many little tricks that people do to kind of mess around with risk that can actually give you quite good looking results in the short term. But trading with one contract is, you don't get all of those little tricks. The only thing that you've got in your favor in that setup is, how well do you know that market? How good are you at actually predicting the future orders? Period. That's all there is to it. And especially if you do a risk adjusted measure. So if you have really huge losses, right, then it doesn't help you. So you don't want it, because you don't want to have you take a much larger stop than your target. And that's the other easy way to kind of mess around with that, right? So you use a risk adjusted measure, right? Have a contest, risk adjusted measure, can only trade micro treasury 10-year. All positions have to be closed at the end of the day. That would be a hard contest. That would be a hard contest, wouldn't it? But that's kind of the challenge that we're doing here, right? And I think it's fun. I think the thing that's attractive about it for a larger audience is that it's a tiny account, right? Well, I wouldn't say that my account is tiny account, but you can do this on a tiny account, right? Like you can trade these with less than $500 easy, right? Economy crash. See, now this guy, I'm surprised at how many people there are now. There's so much more people now than there was 2 years ago. Like, I think that overall, the stream has been more sparse in 2022 than it ever has been. And I think that what happened is 2021 was the peak. 2022, it kind of came off because, not latter half of 2021, rather. It cooled off, obviously. And there was also YouTube made some changes to the algorithm and stuff like that. But then since then, it's been like, it's hard to get up to like past 16, especially in the summer. And I think a lot of that is there's just so much more competition. There was lots of people that were just clicking on the thumbnail, right? And we were like the only ones there. So it was easy to get those views. And now it's hard because look at how many lives there are if I just search for day trading. And a lot of these have more than we do. Well, a couple of these are in the 30s. I have it sorted by viewers right now. So that's where we are right there, right? Well, I don't think that thumbnail is particularly compelling, is it? Let's work on the thumbnail. I'll take some better pictures this weekend. I'll do those 3 that I looked at. A boss pick, a picture where I'm looking away, contemplative and aspirational. I'll just come back here, going the other way. See, this sort of thing seems to be popular. I don't know. I need that. What would be that X factor? What can we put in the thumbnail that would give us that X factor? That's what I really need, right? I gotta think about it. Obviously, we know that thumbnails with a person mouth where they're like, oh my gosh, wow, like helps. But There's got to be something else that makes it like this is trading, and oh, I want to look at that one. That way I can put in the thumbnail and can be like every day's thumbnail. Yeah, just don't promise the world and wealth. Yeah. Never. I'm not gonna put a number up there. See, a lot of these people. Well, Matt actually puts it on later. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't do that anymore. He used to always put like how much he made or lost that day. I'll never do that. I think that was a part of what grew his channel a lot at the beginning. Live signals. No, what is... I think that the thing to me... Hold on. To me, the thing that I think when I think I trade treasuries, lots of people ignore them, but to me, that's the coolest thing. The treasuries, that's the big boys. You know, we're playing with the big boys, really, is what we're doing. And, you know, how can I say that in the thumbnail? To say, like, we're doing very serious trading. And if you want to be at the front lines, if you want to be on the bleeding edge, we're the bleeding edge. All right. Bleeding edge. I don't know how you say that. You don't have to recreate the well. Maybe you're right, live action. I think that having just a better picture of me would really help. But I was never really happy with the background. So I gotta think really hard about what we want to do with the background, okay? I want it to be, I want it something that says, you know, what we're doing is a different level than what you see most other streamers doing, right? It's always been the case. It's kind of surprising to me that there's not more people trying to do what we do streaming, but I guess I wouldn't do it because it's hard and because people like stocks too much, but we'll see. It's time for me to go, guys. It was interesting. You guys had some good thoughts there. We can talk about this more tomorrow. Yeah. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends, or at least don't lose it all. Okay.